Well, welcome again to Vintage Farmhouse Antiques, and we've had to come through into the main body of the barn onto one of our dressers, as you can see, covered in this vintage Johnson Brothers Indian tree. But we're not videoing or showing you the collection of Indian tree today. What we're going to show you is this rather spectacular, massive 22.5-inch antique heavy ironstone platter. We think this is English. We think it. Well, we don't know who made this, to be honest. We know from the shape, roughly, the production period for this. We know the design is based on Peony's, a Chinese influence design that the English were producing around the period of manufacture. And it's basically a transfer printed, heavy ironstone, large serving platter, probably from a large dinner set of ironstone. Would have been manufactured in Staffordshire, we guess, but again, without a discernible factory mark on these pieces, you can never be absolutely certain. The unusual thing about this is the scalloping around the rim with the brown detailing, not so unusual, but the yellow in-block fill, again, that is quite unusual to have this yellow colour on the actual design of the surface plate. Quite a deep inner rim, as you can see, with this drop down to the flat surface. Condition wise, you can see here, I'm going to bring the camera in just to show this. I'm going to take it off the tripod just for a second. I'm going to film this freehand just to show you. Can you see around here in the glaze, we've got some very fine, if I come right in, fine, very fine glaze crazing, which you forgive a platter of this age, because we're looking at a piece that's probably around 180 to 200 years old, but just a little tiny amount of staining on the plate surfaces. And I draw back, if I've drawn your attention to that, this isn't the light, this is antique, very minor staining that's occurred through those little cracks in the glaze. And this really should be used as a display piece rather than a piece that you would put into the oven to keep warm or use. And I don't think this would actually fit in any modern ovens. There's no way that would even go in an Aga, to be honest with you. The colour palette that they've used on this, absolutely delightful. This sort of olivey pastel green with the vivid orange, and then this sort of magenta type burgundy. I don't know how to describe this sort of colour that they've used in on the peony buds itself. A really nice design, and then the block work with the quartering all around the inner aspect where it sort of drops away, and the rim is in very fine condition. I'm going to pop it back on the tripod now to give you a further display of this piece. Okay, let's show you the rear and why we can't definitively know who made this. The only clue that we've got is this pattern reference number 2308, which we've researched extensively to see if we can find any matches, and there's nothing. There's a C impressed stamped on here, and then this, I think, is probably the manufacturer's impress mark. It almost looks like a name and some initials here, but it is. We've tried photographing it and putting contrasts on to try and bring it up. Could be a Copeland impress mark over there, but again, it's so badly impressed that you just can't decipher what that is. Classic, good patiner on the rear. Pot stand marks, kiln stand marks here, one, should be three of them. There's the second, third one over here. So classic firing marks. This thing weighs an absolute ton. I should estimate it's probably around 3 kilograms. But we haven't actually weighed it because we haven't got scales here that we can put something of this weight on. My home scales here that we use for estimating weights on thing only go up to 1 kilogram, so I'd have to get on some copper scales to weigh this. It's a superb thing, an absolute belter of a dresser piece for display. To have said that, there don't seem to be any signs that this has been in a wall rack. Quite often, if they have, a substantial heavy piece like this will show where the hooks of the old antique wall holding racks have worn away at the edge of the china, and this one's got no evidence of that. So if you are going to put it on a dresser, you can see the shelf diameters here don't stand a chance of getting a piece this height and width on this dresser. You'd need a substantial wide tall dresser shelf to actually display this piece, but it would make an absolute statement display piece for a collector of early English china. So, to conclude, what we know about this: no definitive factory marks. We know it's English from the shape, size, and just the finish of it. The shape shouts early 1820s through to 1840s, so we're looking at a piece approximately 180 to 200 years old in the peony tree inspired design with those rare yellow block infills, and a delightful piece, not in perfect mint condition. It's got these staining areas as we've drawn your attention to, but the sheer size, weight and magnificence of it just shout quality, and a rare piece of English early Ironstone china for the connoisseur and collector. Thanks for watching.